Welcome to the SEC on ESPN. Mike the Tiger, he's ready. LSU, and they're in a tough stretch. They're in the middle of 4 ranked opponents in a row. At number 9, Tennessee is the opponent today here in Baton Rouge. This Tennessee team projected to be a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Welcome inside the PMAC. Courtney Lyle and Dane Bradshaw with you. And this Tennessee team, you know it. They pride themselves on their defense.
Yeah, this is the best defense in the nation. And how do they do it? Their ball pressure is elite. They are physical down low. They can test shots from the perimeter. They can switch. They're versatile. They've really been putting on a clinic on the defensive end of the court this year.
Yeah, they're an experienced team. They've got players that played a lot of minutes. Zakai Ziegler played 40 minutes in their last game, and he's going to start today.
Yeah, just a sophomore, he's become the heart and soul of this Tennessee team. And he's starting to make a case that he may be the best point guard in the entire Southeastern Conference. He's the head of the snake on the defensive end. He's leading the league in league play on assists, so he's facilitating well. And he was red hot from 3 against Mississippi State last game. And for LSU, KJ Williams, this is public enemy number 1. Everything goes through the big man. The transfer from Murray State follows his coach, Matt McMahon, and they picked up right where they left off offensively. But he's going to need a little help from his friends if the Tigers are going to pull off an upset.
11 points away from 2,000 for KJ Williams. We'll keep an eye on that for you. As we said, Zakai Ziegler in the starting lineup for this Tennessee team, coming off a gritty win against Mississippi State, where they were down 2 starters in that game, but both are back today for Tennessee. There's Santiago Vescovi. Olivier Kamwa.
This is really Tennessee's best lineup. They have not started yet this season, but certainly their most efficient offensively.
And that's going to be LSU ball. Look for this LSU team, trying to find guys to step up here. KJ Williams, he needs some help. He's their leading scorer and rebounder, but somebody's got to help him out.
And they've got guys capable. A big-time shooter in Adam Miller who can get hot and score in bunches. Cam Hayes has been a surprise for them at the point guard spot as well.
There's Cam Hayes now, number 1 in the white jersey, feeding KJ Williams inside the turnaround.
A nice deep post touch. That's exactly where Tennessee can't let Williams catch the ball. They got to force that catch further out.
And you mentioned it, Dane. This is the first time we're seeing this starting lineup for Tennessee. We got to watch film with Tennessee last night, and Rick Barnes, he was excited about putting these 5 guys out there first.
And you see the versatility. Josiah Jordan-James can play the 4. He can guard your 5, your 1, you name it. And you see him being able to step out, get the big man away from the basket, knock down the triple.
Look, this lineup was already decided for Tennessee last night, but overnight we learned that Uroš Plavšić got ill and he is not available. We have not seen him in warm-ups or in the arena today.
Nice action there. Tennessee got caught on the switch, and all of a sudden Ziegler was down low on the big man Fountain. Had no chance.
Jawan Phillips, originally committed to LSU, but decided to be a Tennessee Volunteer after the coaching change.
Yeah, he was not shooting the 3 early in the season, but he's starting to get some confidence. He had arguably his best game of the season at Mississippi State. The freshman is emerging right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, just his second career double-double against Mississippi State, 18 points, 11 rebounds. Shot goes up from Justice Williams.
Well, an LSU team that struggles to score, you can't ask for a better start if you're Matt McMahon on the offensive end.
This is a team that averages 68 points per game, starting 3 for 3. Josiah Jordan-James over to Ziegler. 10 seconds for Tennessee. James elevating on the baseline, air ball. KJ Williams off to the left. The aggressive defense by Cam Hayes, it's going to stay with Tennessee.
Yeah, Ziegler can get a little bit out of control at times, gets a little loose with the handle. But there's nobody Rick Barnes trusts with the ball in his hands more. No point guard he'd rather have than Zakai Ziegler.
Yeah, Rick Barnes talked about that Mississippi State win. He said it was a character game for us. You're down. Santiago Vescovi was not available. Tyreek Key was not available. Those are 2 starters, and Tennessee had to grind it out. Specifically, Ziegler, he struggled in the first half.
Yeah, that's a win that's not going to jump off the sheet when you look at Tennessee's resume. But inside that locker room, it was that program bonding type moment when you get that sort of road win.
Mac McMahon in his first season coming over from Murray State, and watching his practice yesterday, He's coaching. Hey, we want that energy, we want that intensity every moment in practice and on the floor.
Yeah, and they're going through a gauntlet on their schedule right now.
Goodness.
But if I'm a player, Courtney, hey, if we're losing, I want a chance to come back against a ranked team. I'm excited to play this game, and you're seeing it early, and you saw it in the shoot-arounds and practice as well.
And they just played number 16 Auburn. Their next game will be number 25 Arkansas, actually a team that they beat to start the SEC season. Here's Adam Miller over to Hayes. 10 seconds for the Tigers. Hayes has got to let it fly.
How about Vescovy holding his own on the box out against Williams? That's how you seal a taller defender.
Phillips shaking the defense. Back to Kamwa. East Miller got through that screen. No easy look for Vescovy. Here's Josiah Jordan-James in the paint.
And a good flash by James. Fountain turns around. There's miscommunication on who was guarding who down low. But Coach Matt McMahon said, guys, we got to quit looking at each other after the play. Short memory, get on to the next one.
There's going to be a foul away from the ball. It is on Julian Phillips, and that's his second.
Here's Josiah Jordan-James just going to flash to the middle. That's his sweet spot, mid-range. That's all day for James.
Early on here in Baton Rouge, Tennessee leading LSU by a point. Different lineup we're seeing for Tennessee today. We were just talking about Josiah Jordan-James, how important this player is. This is a guy, he missed 9 games throughout the season so far with some injuries, but he's back.
Yeah, and it was a storyline in Knoxville. I mean, he misses a bulk of games, comes back for 2, then misses another stretch of games. You start to wonder, hey, what's up with Josiah? I mean, that was the word around Knoxville because you knew what an important piece he was to this team. This is a kid that came in as a McDonald's All-American as a point guard, and while he's not the primary ball handler, he's so versatile. He can play the 1 if you need him to. He can play the 3, 4, 5, and he can guard all those positions, and he's been so key to this program that Rick Barnes has continued to build. I mean, I see this kid with recruits parents. You talk about having an extension of the coaching staff on the court and in your locker room. 30 and Orange is that guy.
It helps too. He's had a couple years in Rick Barnes' program. It's kind of the opposite of what we were talking with Mac McMahon about. He's just setting his culture here at LSU and getting those guys in to buy into what he wants to bring to Baton Rouge.
No question. He's the standard, and he's the guy in the film room and everywhere else that you can count on and rely on for his high IQ and team-first mindset.
LSU, a team that struggled to score. They started this game 3 for 3, but that's going to be a turnover by Trey Hannibal.
Well, not only is that a turnover, that's missed 2 points. That's the second time they've been able to get KJ Williams wide open on the block, just did not execute the pass.
Ziegler kicks back to James. Vescovy heavily guarded by Ace Miller.
Yeah, Miller's doing a great job on Vescovy's touches early.
Ziegler for 3, off. Tyreek Key was flying in for the rebound, but it's going to be off of Tennessee and LSU ball.
And Tyreek Key's an interesting story as well for Tennessee. He'd been starting at point guard, even though Ziegler was playing the most of the minutes. But Coach Barnes had talked about, hey, Zakai is a little bit better coming off the bench. Well, now they're reversing roles. Let's see if Tyreek Key gets a little more comfortable as the 6th man, because he could be a big-time scorer and 3-point shooter for Tennessee. Just has not had that offensive explosion yet this season.
Yeah, Key, a Tennessee native, but transferred in after 5 seasons from Indiana State. Adam Ace Miller feeding KJ Williams inside. Missed the turnaround. Vescovy in transition, air ball. Saved by Key to Adu, and it's going to be LSU ball.
Well, and credit Miller, because he's made Vescovy's catches so tough that when Vescovy saw just a little window, he forced a 35-foot jumper. Key tries to hustle back, but good hands by Hannibal. And 0 and white right there, Trey Hannibal. He is ready for the fight every single game. Arguably the most physical player on this LSU roster.
Yeah, that's what he brings coming off the bench for LSU. Tennessee putting a little pressure on full court. That, by the way, was the first shot that Vescovy's been able to get off here in this game. Scoring drought for LSU, that's kind of been their bugaboo. They had a 7-minute scoring drought and a 5-minute scoring drought in the first half against Auburn. 5 seconds for Miller. The three, off. Hustle for the basketball. James has it.
Good hustle by both teams on that one. And see if Tennessee can't push a little bit in transition. LSU's half-court defense has been pretty solid.
Now, that was something Tennessee thought they would have an advantage of, is getting out in transition. They talked to the team about it. All starts in transition for us.
Yeah, Tennessee can't take the bait from the three-point line, though. Too many shots from beyond the arc early in this one. And the reason I say that's a point of emphasis, this LSU team does not have much rim protection. They give up a lot of easy shots at the rim. But right now, with Tennessee shooting 5 of their first 9 field goal attempts from beyond the arc, that's a number Rick Barnes and this team and coaching staff have to monitor.
Yeah, LSU's rim defense, Dane, 354th in the nation.
Not good.
It's not great.
No, it's not. And so they just don't have that resistance. When you look across the league, Tennessee has great depth at the 5 spot. You've got guys like Bediako at Alabama, Colin Castleton, Janai Broome at Auburn. And so LSU just doesn't really have that guy right now. And they've got to play more physical collectively, even if they don't have a high-flying, huge wingspan rim protector.
Outlet pass up ahead to Justice Williams. Third career start today for Williams. To the corner with Jalen Reed. No. Scoring drought continuing really on both sides, but LSU hasn't scored in almost 5 minutes.
Yeah, but the good news for LSU and Coach Matt McMahon is they're not allowing their offensive struggles to dictate their defensive intensity, and that's been an issue the past few games. And so right now, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about where you sit just 7 minutes into this game, but the game plan is to make Tennessee try to settle from beyond the arc.
And Tennessee right now 1 for 7 after starting 2 for 3. Wow, Miller's defense has been tough. Ziegler gets the lay-in.
And that all starts with the turn down. He had an open 3 earlier in that possession. Pump fake, made the defense work longer into the shot clock, and nobody can get to that rim from the three-point line to the paint quicker than Zakai Ziegler.
That ends a 3-minute scoring drought for the Vols. Swing it over to Hannibal. Offensive foul on Trey Hannibal.
Here's Tennessee on the other end of the court. Zakai Ziegler just so quick, and they're going to little ball screen here, realizes, wait, I got a big man on me on the switch. Watch this little hezzy, just a slight hezzy right before that, and good job finishing with that inside hand, really crafty by Ziegler.
I love how he's owned his role, whether it's coming off the bench, starter. I mean, he's a team guy.
Oh, he's phenomenal. And last game, they made him play all 40 minutes. They needed him to be the primary ball handler for the entire game, but also pick up for Vescovy shooting, which he did as well, getting hot from deep.
Vescovy the kick out to Key for 3. Milwaukee battling Reed for the rebound. LSU's got it.
This is something Reed can do. He likes to push it as a big man. He's tall and length, but he'd rather take you off the bounce. Those active hands for Tennessee. Nobody gets more steals with less gambling than the Tennessee Vols. Tennessee
13th in the nation in steals per game. Zakai Ziegler, don't forget it.
And Vescovy on 2 straight possessions has gotten the paint touch for that inside-out 3. Those are the looks you want rather than just swinging it around the perimeter. Good job by Vescovy.
7-0 run for Tennessee. Tennessee ball.
Here's Tennessee Vols getting hot from 3 here. Vescovy, drive, draw, dish. Ziegler, nothing but nylon.
It's a 7-0 run for Tennessee and a scoring drought for LSU of over 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, the first thing you want to do if you're LSU is try to get KJ Williams a look either on the block or pick and pop. The second action is Adam Miller, 44, your streaky three-point shooter, has not had any daylight in this game. And see if that can at least draw some attention to open up some things for others. But right now, LSU's going to get tested with their defensive character. Hey, can we even when we're in offensive scoring droughts, can we keep locking up on this end of the court? And they've got to try to contain Tennessee's dribble penetration.
Tennessee shooting 38% from the field, LSU shooting 33%. Welcome to Baton Rouge. It has been a tough stretch for LSU in the midst of 4 ranked opponents in a row. Courtney Lyle and Dane Bradshaw with you. Tennessee on a 9-0 run right now, and it's been a 7-minute scoring drought for LSU. That's kind of been their bugaboo this season.
It has, and the physicality down low, Tennessee has the advantage. That time LSU giving up a shot right at the rim with a deep post touch.
That shot was from KJ Williams, the leading scorer for this LSU team, and there's going to be a foul.
And Tennessee has gotten off to a pretty good start. Josiah Jordan-James showed you how he can flash to that mid-range. Zakai Ziegler doesn't settle for 3 after a few of those empty possessions. And then he says, you know what? Just to show everybody at home, I've got the 3-ball rolling for me. This guy was electric on the road at Mississippi State, where he caught fire from beyond the arc. And I'm telling you, 5 in orange is in the conversation as the best point guard in the Southeastern Conference. We're seeing why early on in this one.
Look, he got fired from all over the court. Played 40 minutes, had a career-high 24 points. Starting tonight, Zakai Ziegler, a different lineup for Tennessee than we have seen all season. Ziegler, Phillips, Kamwa, Vescovi, and James in the starting 5.
Ziegler so mentally tough on the road at Mississippi State. First 10 minutes, not so good. And typically a player has to have a bounce-back game. He bounced back in the same game and played some of the best basketball I've seen from a point guard in that final 30 minutes, therefore getting the starting nod, as you mentioned.
Again, this Tennessee team, a number 2 seed right now by Joe Lunardi. Kentucky, now part of the last 4 in with their win that just happened over Texas A&M. You just finished up watching.
That's how I had my preseason polls. Is that how you put it into? Yeah.
Maybe not. Another lineup note for Tennessee. Ziegler misses. Uroš Plavšić. Now, he wasn't going to be in the starting lineup coming into this game. They were going to try this new lineup, but overnight he became ill, so we haven't seen him in the gym. He did not warm up.
Tennessee has a lot of depth at that spot. He gives them physicality down low and has really been a terrific force for Tennessee and pushed others to improve their game if they want minutes. But fortunately for Rick Barnes and this staff, they do have other options at the 5.
Olivier Kamwa just whistled for his first foul. There's Justice Williams over to Adam Ace Miller. Hasn't found his shot yet, but he's played some tough defense on Tennessee. Tyreek Key.
Well, nice job there by Meshack. He saw the defender backpedaling, and if that's the case, do not pull up and stop. Keep attacking the rim. Well done by Meshack. And here you'll see Miller's doing his best, but leaning backwards. Good call there by the official.
That'll be the second foul on Miller. We were lucky enough, Tennessee let us watch film with them last night, and some of the things they pointed out, everything starting with transition offense. They felt like that was a weakness for LSU, and then also LSU is 354th in rim defense, so Tennessee wanted to go inside.
Right, and some of that is transition, some of it's in the half court where they just don't have that rim protection. But for Coach Matt McMahon, 5 turnovers early, a lot of those not really forced either, just deflections, careless passes. They are not good enough on offense to have that many empty possessions. They got to shore things up on this end of the court.
Now, Matt McMahon coming over from Murray State. Been focusing on the little things with this LSU team. Their one win in conference play was over Arkansas, who actually will be their next opponent.
Yeah, they had won some good, close early games when you look at what they did against Wake Forest in the non-conference. But the SEC is tough, man, and you can get humbled real quick. So it's a mental challenge as much as anything right now for LSU.
Miller's shot won't go. Rebound by Derek Fountain. He's stopped, and Kamwa's got it. Tennessee didn't have Tyreek Key or Santiago Vescovi for their last game. They're both back today. 10 seconds. Kamwa is going to let it fly.
And that's what LSU wants him to do. He is a capable shooter from deep, but they intentionally backed off there to try to bait him into that deep shot.
Defense is there for LSU, but the offense, 9 minutes without a field goal. There it is, Derek Fountain, the transfer from Mississippi State.
And they took advantage of the mismatch. They couldn't get it early when Vescovy was guarding Fountain down low. Instead, the point guard takes the big man off the bounce. Penetration kills. Easy bucket for LSU.
We were talking to Fountain yesterday. He told us he felt like his game has gotten better on the inside game, like we saw just a minute ago in the paint.
The closer he roams around the basket, the more efficient player he is.
He's trying to come off the screen. The kick out to Ace Miller. Up and in for KJ Williams. Williams came into this game needing 11 points to hit 2,000 in his career. He's got 4.
And Olivier Combois with a couple rush shots from the perimeter, gives up the offensive rebound. Has to play a little bit smarter on both ends of the court.
Vescovy alone. He's got it. Combois shot bounces out and a foul on the floor.
Well, we mentioned the LSU scoring drought, but starting to find their rhythm just a little bit. First, it's the penetration with the easy deuce for Derek Fountain, and then KJ Williams showed you why. He's one of the top offensive rebounders in league play, showing a little muscle.
Look at the series history between Tennessee and LSU. These two split their meetings last season, but it's been tough for Tennessee in the PMAC.
It sure has. I was around Santiago Vescovy in the offseason, the great senior leader for Tennessee. I said, hey, man, what's one team that you just like take a little bit more personally? Because you know what, they all, I compete against all of them at the highest level, but if I had to name one, LSU, man. Yeah. The fans, the players, they get under your skin a little bit. It's always been a chippy affair. Many of those right there under the Fighting Will Wades. They have a little bit different personnel than we're seeing here, where they bother Tennessee with a lot of switching, force them to settle from 3 and not pound you inside. But it's a similar challenge against this year's Rick Barnes team.
Tennessee has lost the last 4 meetings with LSU inside the PMAC, and there's Vescovy right on cue.
Yeah, you go into that zone, you better find shooters, and Vescovy is very comfortable. That was not a deep shot from him. It might have looked deep on TV, but that's routine for 25.
Just his first made bucket tonight, again coming off a game he did not play against Mississippi State earlier in the week. LSU's hits 2 of its last 12 field goals. 5 seconds now for Hannibal. Man, he can get there.
He does such a good job. When he gets too deep in the paint, he likes to do that reverse and use that rim as an extra shield from the shot blocker.
We were talking to Matt McMahon, and he said, I love his physicality, especially in the SEC, but also defensively what he brings off the bench.
Yeah, he's a guy that can really help contain Tennessee's offensive rebounds, even though he's one of the shorter players on the court.
Ziegler's alone. Misses. Rebound by Phillips. And Julian Phillips going to the free throw line.
Well, bricks and air balls can be some of the toughest ones to rebound because the ball is really not going to bounce where you expect it to. And Julian Phillips, one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, and has a really high motor for this Tennessee team.
Yeah, that offensive glass, we knew that about Julian Phillips, but looking at him, obviously he was originally committed to LSU, but the coaching staff, they've talked about, it's been constant talk with him. We need you to play at a high level. Even if he's walking through the office, hey, Julian, we need you to play at a high level.
I think the best mismatch he provides is when he's at the 3. With his size and physicality, I mean, he can really punk a lot of opposing 3 men, and that's what Josiah Jordan-James can bring to the table, where he can kind of slide to the 4, let Phillips take advantage of that, and we saw that quite a bit in their road victory at Starkville.
Define punk the 3-man. When you say punk, what do you mean?
How about paint touches,
yeah,
and ones, whatever you want. Let's just say it leads to you getting subbed out of the game because you can't check them.
Right. Julian Phillips for 3.
Again, that was a shot that wasn't really reliable for him in the non-conference, but he has found his stroke in conference play, and if he can knock that down, look out.
Yeah, he only had two field goals against Kentucky, and then they challenged him. You got to be more aggressive offensively.
Tennessee, it's just so hard to run any offense. I mean, here we are deep in the shot clock, and LSU has not gotten the ball even inside the arc.
Ziegler almost coughing it up. It's going to roll over half court. They say it was touched. Jump ball possession arrow pointing to LSU.
You love the hustle there as Josiah Jordan James dives for that ball with a smile on his face.
Well, here's our big Monday ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and the app. Duke is in Blacksburg taking on Virginia Tech at 7 Eastern. Then we'll take you to Waco for number 21 Baylor squaring off against number 2 Kansas. How about the Jayhawks today? Getting beat again. First time with back-to-back losses this season.
Yeah, and getting smoked. I mean, they were able to put up a 19-0 run on Kansas. Was TCU to put up a 19-0 run on Kansas's home court? That does not happen.
Offensive foul.
That's a shame. I mean, LSU has really run a nice play down low for KJ Williams. They scored early in this game on a similar play, a little cross screen for him on the block. They turned it over the next time, and that time an illegal screen. It's been a good look for them that they probably could have had 6 points instead. It's resulted in 2 points, a turnover, and an offensive foul.
And 3 fouls now on Ace Miller.
Yeah, that makes it really tough. That's your best outside threat. I felt like LSU had to get 3 triples in this game from Miller if they were going to pull off an upset.
He's 0 for 3 from 3 today so far. Justice Williams, his 3rd career start today. LSU again without Justice Hill. He's away from the team for personal reasons. Williams to the paint, the floater, and fouled.
Good job by Williams, reading that he had the big man, Awaka, out on the perimeter. Don't settle from 3, make him try to move his feet. Gets in the paint, now at the free throw line.
That was on Josiah Jordan James, his first. And Justice Williams, he reclassified, so he really should be a freshman this year, but he's a sophomore. Missed the non-conference last season. He was dealing with an injury, so only averaged about 10 minutes a game last year. Adu back in the game for the Vols.
So if you're Coach Matt McMahon, you see the depth that Tennessee has. Usually when a team starts subbing, you start licking your chops a little bit. When Tennessee starts subbing, you shake your head like, man, I forgot they got Adu also. I mean, this is a guy with a 9'4" standing reach, big time rim protector. So it's going to be even tougher for LSU to get those paint points that they desperately need.
Yeah, he worked on the offense, talking about Adu to extend that shooting range, and his effort has been really tough recently too. James for 3. Josiah Jordan James.
He's playing with a ton of confidence right now. A strange start to the season. As we talked about, he was out for a bulk of games, came back for 2, then missed another 4, and it was like, hey, what's up with the knee? Is he going to be back? Is he not? And then they brought him back kind of in limited minutes, so they slowly but surely they brought him along, and I credit Chad Newman, their athletic trainer, this coaching staff of managing that situation. And now Josiah Jordan James is playing his best basketball as the season goes on for Tennessee.
What's the biggest thing Tennessee missed when he was out?
I think the versatility in the lineups. Like they were playing really big, but with him, they can play a little bit smaller without giving anything up from a physicality standpoint or rebounding.
Sean Phillipson, number 34, is Hayes for 3. LSU just their second made 3. They're 2 for 11.
Great pump fake by Hayes there, and just being patient, sidestep, found the opening.
Meshack can't answer.
That's a shot he's going to have to try to knock down a little more consistently if he wants to get big minutes. He's a big-time defender, but he's got to have that complementary piece on this end of the court.
Now he's 5 for 20 on the season from 3. Little heat check for Hayes.
It's a really important last few minutes for LSU. You're hanging in there. Keep this single digits. Don't give up open looks like that on the defensive end. You don't want to be a double-digit deficit going into halftime against an elite defense like Tennessee.
Vescovy, they'll swing it all the way around. Meshack, the pull-up for 2. Ball movement for Tennessee.
And you wonder why people compare Vescovy to a little bit of a Manu Ginobili. You saw it right there, the lefty, the ball fake getting in there. Nice play.
It's a foul on Derek Fountain.
And here's Santiago Vescovy. He's going to penetrate. You think he's going to kick it out. No, sir. A little ball fake. Whoop! And then the nice kick out, ball movement. Tennessee starting to click on offense. You know, Seth, that was so valuable. The year after I left, Tennessee became #1 in the country.
Well,
so how's that make
leaving.
you feel for the departure? Y'all are spot on. Tennessee's defense is so elite. Their ball pressure is second to none. They can impose their will down low. And then if you think, okay, maybe we can beat them from 3, you can't. They're the top-rated three-point defense in the entire country, too. And when you ask opposing coaches what makes them so good, in one word, they would say physicality.
Side Jordan James in the paint. Rebound by Key. 6 offensive boards now for Tennessee. Key all alone for 3. Tennessee with its 7th made 3 today.
He's one of the sharpshooters for Tennessee. You can't ever leave the ball, especially when it's a shooter, a breakdown by LSU. And we talked about it just a minute ago, how important the final stanza was for LSU to hang in there, not be defeated heading into the locker room.
Hayes rolls out. Going back to Tennessee's defense, it helps too. They can play with their lineup. They don't lose anything defensively when they make a lineup change.
And you talked to Rick Barnes about, hey, a lot of times coaches want to start shrinking their rotation at this point in the season. He said, no, man, we're going to keep rolling with the guys. As long as they do their job, we'll keep playing you. And you see it right there. There's just no opportunities to get a clean look. Courtney, in half of their games this season, they have held teams to under 50 points, 50 or under. I mean, that's absurd. And so while LSU does have their offensive struggles and limitations, this is as much about Tennessee's elite defense as it is LSU's offense.
ADU gets the first. Tennessee's also held 11 opponents this year, 11 of their 18, to 33% from the field or worse. LSU shooting 35 right now. Under 2 minutes to go. LSU on another scoring drought over 2 minutes. They had a 9-minute scoring drought without a field goal earlier in the half.
Well, Tennessee's done a better job in this game. If there's one weakness to their defense, is they were fouling a little bit too much. They were losing that battle. And this one so far, just 4 trips to the line for LSU. And with only 1:46 left, LSU still not in the bonus. So better job of defending without fouling.
Meshack was just whistled for the foul by Tennessee. They'll throw it up to KJ Williams. He's got 4 points, looking for 11 to hit 2,000 for his career today. And LSU's going to throw it away.
It's the ball pressure, it's deflections. And you look around and you say, man, can we not get in the paint or penetrate? But LSU doesn't have a lot of guys that can put it on the deck. When they do, they don't have a lot of shooters. So that help defender is cheating for Tennessee. And they get more turnovers and more steals without gambling than any team I can remember defensively.
Ziegler starts again. Key. Got it!
Well, they want him looking for his shot. This is a big-time scorer historically as a high school player and in college. And Tennessee starting to run away with this one.
Well, tomorrow we'll have an ACC women's basketball matinee on ABC and the app. Number 20, NC State against Louisville. This one, there's always something, big rivalry between these two. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern. The ACC, one of those top conferences in women's basketball. I'd say the ACC along with the Big Ten. Both projected to have 8 teams in the tournament, along with the SEC by Charlie Cream.
Those are the opportunities you want, though. I mean, there's a lot of conferences out there that wish they had those quality win opportunities on their schedule to build their resume up. And so those leagues that you just mentioned, there's plenty of those, and there's just another deflection.
Josiah Jordan-James misses the dunk. Adu's got it.
Well,
1 minute.
Love that, though, if you're Rick Barnes. Josiah Jordan-James has been a guy that's been a little bit too conservative when he attacks the rim. You want to see him try to finish above the rim as opposed to lay it in.
Key stepping into the 3. It's a 13-3 run for Tennessee. KJ Williams walking on Adu. Turn around and one coming.
Oh, boy, did they need that one. And KJ Williams loves to turn over that left shoulder. Yes, he's known for his pick and pop ability as a three-point shooter, but this is money. I mean, he's got a really good jump hook.
Spent 4 seasons at Murray State. Obviously, he was with Matt McMahon, the OVC Player of the Year, and he's got a free throw coming when we come back to Baton Rouge. KJ Williams heading to the free throw line after that Tennessee timeout. He was fouled on the shot. OVC Player of the Year last season, a 2-time All-OVC first team selection. Wanted to take that extra year that he had left and test his talent against the SEC. He said it's been a privilege to play some of these players in the conference.
Yeah, but what a compliment it is to Matt McMahon for a talent like KJ Williams to follow him to Baton Rouge. This guy could have gone pretty much anywhere in the country in the transfer portal, but he said, you know what, I want to help you rebuild this at LSU, coach. And he has certainly been terrific, specifically on the offensive end.
About a second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Ziegler guarded by Justice Williams. James, an open look right at the free throw line. Cam Hayes hustling. Tennessee ending on a 12-2 run. Volunteers up at the half at 39-22. Let's get you to the studio. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. Getting set for the second half here in the PMAC. 39-22 is your score. Tennessee, number 9 Tennessee on top of LSU. Courtney Lyle and Dane Bradshaw with you. And Tennessee, their defense was there obviously, but they were sharing the basketball. 10 assists on 13 made field goals.
That's Tennessee basketball on the offensive end. They are at their best when they're moving, passing, cutting, hitting the open man, hitting the open shot. And they did it with a lot of dribble penetration. Josiah Jordan-James, just a mismatch nightmare for the opponent. And here you are swinging around. Julian Phillips, all of a sudden he's getting more confident from 3. And the pass cutting, the mid-range. LSU wanted to make Tennessee try to settle from mid-range and from 3, but Tennessee made them pay on that, and it was everybody involved. Tyreek Key hit a couple himself. This team has been red hot. That performance in the second half at Mississippi State has carried over into this one.
Yeah, Tennessee made 8 3-pointers in the first half. LSU made 8 field goals.
Yeah. And if you're Matt McMahon, that's kind of what you want to do, though. You hope Tennessee can have one of those 3 for 20 type performances from deep, but there were just too many open looks. If you're going to do it, make it contested threes.
Vescovy coming off the screen, make it 9 made threes now for Tennessee. Tom Sokoviak, the SID for Tennessee, texted us in the last 2 halves of basketball for Tennessee. Volunteers are 16 of 28 from 3, 57%.
Well, and that's when they're a complete team. Tennessee fans know and expect them to be elite defensively, but can they rely on their offense? And right now, there's not many players on this Tennessee team not playing with extreme confidence.
There's KJ Williams. Now coming into this game, we were watching Williams, the OVC Player of the Year last year. He needed 11 points to get 2,000 for his career. He's now 5 away from that. Justice Williams driving baseline. He's stopped by Tennessee.
Oh, Ziegler's going to want to have the replay of that. He doesn't get too many blocks, but it looked like it was the little man 5 that came from behind.
Julian Phillips driving in. Tennessee came in wanting to attack the paint, but only 8 paint points in that first half because they were hitting threes.
Yeah, they took what the defense gave them, and that's when they're most dangerous. If they can make those shots, then they're really tough to stop.
Williams, patience.
He's really good down low, and he loves to turn over that left shoulder jump hook. Very skilled, much more than just a pick and pop three-point shooter.
And he leads them in almost every offensive category. LSU struggles this year have been on offense. Matt McMahon came into a cupboard that was pretty bare for this LSU team when he took over the program this year.
It has, and they just don't get many live ball turnovers on this end of the court, so their defense doesn't give them those easy buckets. See if they can push it a little bit in transition here instead of going up against that stifling half-court defense time and time again for Tennessee.
It didn't help, too, that one of their big-time shooters, Ace Miller, number 44 in white, he picked up 3 fouls in the first half. KJ Williams, that's 11 points, and that's 2,000 for his career.
What an incredible accomplishment. He's earned them all and has gotten better every single season. Mr. Reliable on the offensive end.
Was just recognized a few games ago for his 1,000th rebounds, and now 2,000 points to go along with it.
We saw KJ Williams down low show you the post-up game, and here's just a little pick and pop, and Josiah Jordan-James has to commit. If Kamwa gets stuck down low, then you got to sell out and try to make Williams put it on the deck. Watch for a lob to Kamwa here.
Second foul whistle against Derek Fountain. Do you mean like that?
Yeah, it's a play they try to execute about once a game. They don't often get it, but LSU just asleep at the wheel. You got to bust through that screen.
This was the lineup we saw start the game for the first time for Tennessee. What do you think about it?
It's their best offensive lineup, and I think oftentimes their best defensive too. James being the key to that with that versatility. But if there's one guy in this lineup that you say, all right, we got to get him going, it's Olivier Kamwa. And this was a guy that was 15 of 15 over a 2-game stretch early in conference play. And for Tennessee to be a Final Four team, he has to establish himself as the best 5-man on this team.
Just 2 points and 3 rebounds for Kamwa tonight.
Tennessee never plays the scoreboard, and that's what I admire about their defense is even as they build leads, they don't take any possessions off, and you're seeing it right now.
Miller looking for space, trying to shake Kamwa, and it's going to be a blocking foul on Olivier Kamwa.
This is that lob to Kamwa where they just do a little big screen, and it's really just a little diagonal screen with the best shooter setting it. Because Miller does not want to leave Vescovy, there's no help. And so Williams has to bust through that knowing it's coming because Miller's in a position saying, hey, I can't leave Vescovy. He's their best shooter. And they throw it up top on a perfect lob play.
Tennessee glad to have Santi Vescovy back to attract that attention from defenses. He was out for the Mississippi State game.
When your best shooter is your best screener, it opens up things for everybody on the team.
Offensive foul on the screen.
Tough break there. I thought Kamwa moved his feet pretty well in the previous possession, got the blocking foul, and then gets caught on the wrong end of that one. Again, really talented big man for Tennessee. Been a little bit out of rhythm lately, but he is certainly a key to a deep postseason run for this Tennessee team.
Well, that's 3 fouls on Kamwa, so he'll take a seat. Jonas Adu back in the game for Tennessee. They do have depth in the post, even without Uros Plavšić, who is unavailable today with illness overnight. Oh, Santi got a hand on it. Miller. Lost the ball. It's going to be Tennessee basketball. Twelve turnovers now for LSU.
Tennessee just so relentless on the defensive end. It doesn't matter what the lead is. It's suffocating right now. LSU.
And just announced today, College Game Day heading back to Rocky Top.
Hey, Tennessee fans delivered on the first time and then the second time and said, how about we try basketball? And Danny White, athletic director for Tennessee's got to be proud man right now, and I'd say enrollment's increasing as a result too.
Well, it's really cool because Thursday the Lady Vols are going to host UConn. Game Day will be there for that matchup, and then they'll be there Saturday for Tennessee, the men's battle with Texas, and that was a close game last year, a one-point game.
If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be the first school in history, at least in the same year, to have football, women's basketball, men's basketball with College Game Day. And so what a heck of an environment that is. And you think about football and other sports, with just a recruiting tool. When I was getting recruited to the University of Tennessee at that time, it was everybody asked me, the first thing they asked me when I came back was, did you meet Philip Fulmer? Did you meet Pat Summitt? And so when you can meet those celebrities, yeah, you know what? I was on the sideline with Coach Fulmer, and I'm sure somebody gave him a note and said, hey, here's the recruit's name, yada, yada. 10 minutes before kickoff, Coach Fulmer comes over. Hey, Dane, nice to meet you. Heard you're a good player. Yeah, this is what we're going to try to do on the first play. Good luck. Enjoy the game. It was,
wow.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
That is awesome.
Love you, Coach, but you're still second to Pat Summitt in terms of the famous people I got to meet on.
Yeah, absolutely. Ziegler. That is 10 three-pointers for Tennessee. Their season high is 14. Their SEC high this year is 12.
And Ziegler is getting more and more confident. And really, he was a guy that when you set a ball screen for him, you would go under. And now that he's starting to make that, it changes everything for your defensive plan.
Here he goes. They let him go all the way to the basket, too.
Yeah, he was looking for that lob or off the glass, but made the right read. His story, I mean, this kid was essentially not recruited by any Power 5 school. So he's gone from underdog to alpha dog for this Tennessee team. Clear leader at the point guard spot.
Getting the start today, was coming off the bench, was one of those candidates for the 6th man of the year, but now in the starting lineup.
And you just got to respect his three ball now. Before he was a guy you could kind of back off a little bit, and is in excellent condition and just always the aggressor, the head of the snake. His ball pressure is absolutely elite. And there's a lot of talented point guards across the SEC. When you look at Spears at Alabama, Wendell Green at Auburn, Cason Wallace at Kentucky, but Zakai Ziegler's got to be in the conversation for best point guard in the SEC right now, especially when you consider the two-way point guard with his defense to complement the offense.
10 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists for Ziegler tonight so far. 2 for 5 from 3. James letting it go. Tennessee feeling it on the road. Making 11 threes.
If you're Coach Matt McMahon, I don't blame him. He's bringing some subs in and says, guys, I know we're down, but we got to have better effort than that. That is a short closeout with not a lot of energy on it. And he talked about showing his team in the film room some negative body language clips that he saw in the last game and said, this is not what our culture and identity is. And so these are things that don't happen overnight, but he's trying to send a message right now of taking guys out of the game, saying, I don't care what the score is, that's not LSU basketball.
Yeah, when he took over this program, he brought his core values to LSU that he established at Murray State. Hard work, unselfishness, toughness, accountability, and joy. Those are things he's trying to build this LSU program on.
Oh, God.
So Phillips just went up there and took it away. Vescovy. Phillips' turn. Rebound by Williams. Trey Hannibal all the way.
Yeah, that's what he can do. Get downhill, finish on either side of the rim. Unfortunately, he has just not had many looks because of all the help side defense in Tennessee's positioning.
And Hannibal with 4 points, just 2 for 2. James creating space over to Phillips. My goodness.
I mean, he is just feeling it right now. And he's got the mid-range game. This is a guy, you got to make him put it on the deck, though. I mean, if you're LSU, he's just going to light you up from deep. And Josiah Jordan-James, the veteran leader of this ball club, and as we mentioned earlier, the extension of the coaching staff on the court.
Hannibal, a couple of positive possessions for him.
And that's a guy that Coach Matt McMahon can look at and say, guys, look at Trey. You think he's quitting this game? No, he's putting his head down. He's still fighting. And just because you're playing bad doesn't mean your effort's not there. I get that. But they've got to show a little bit more resistance on this end of the court.
Ziegler one-handed.
I mean, that's a shot they practice and not one you teach at the grade school level. But Kennedy Chandler was terrific at it last year with that same hand, same foot, John Morant type wizardry, and Ziegler's showing a little bit of it there.
Matt McMahon's seen that before, obviously, but on his bench with Ja.
Yeah, more ball movement here as Tennessee 13 assists on 21 made baskets, right at their season average. And James just with step back, keeps moving, jab step, and when you got the bigger defender on you, it puts them in peril. And then Ziegler that time goes off the left, finishes with the right with a nice kiss off the glass.
Tennessee's now hit 7 of its last 8 shots. Phillips. Through contact, it bounces out into the hands of Hannibal. And Zakai Ziegler stepping up and taking the charge.
And that's all scouting report and in transition defense. Zakai Ziegler so quick to where he can get back, get established, and take that in the chest there. Zakai Ziegler is not a tougher player in the league than 5 in orange. You see it right there.
Well, you may notice the special jerseys for LSU today. That's for a reason. They were honoring the 1979 SEC championship team. You see Dale Brown there in the brown sweater on the right side. Now, it was an urban legend. Actually, the players didn't like these jerseys when they wore them in 1979, but I'll tell you right now, there's been a lot of interest in the gift shop about them.
Yes.
Got the stars and the Louisiana State script on the front.
The entire package. The shooting shirts were fire. The jerseys are too. And so, yeah, I hope they didn't throw those things away because that's some vintage stuff right there.
That 79 team, too, it was kind of the catalyst for a run that would put them in the Final Four in 1981.
Yeah. Rudy Macklin was really the key recruit that started all that under Dale Brown, a guy that chose to not go to a school in Kentucky. He's from Louisville, Kentucky. You got options there. And so you go against the grain, and when you leave your home state, you want to try to do something nobody else has done before. And so that's exactly what Rudy Macklin was able to do, of going against the norm and becoming a legend here at LSU with not only individual success, but incredible team success as well.
Julian Phillips at the free throw line for Tennessee. Talking about LSU history, and I know Pistol Pete wasn't on that team. He was before that, but Pete Maravich, obviously we're playing in the PMAC here, and Rick Barnes, we got to talk with him. A little story time last night with Coach Barnes, which is always fun, but he had a great one about Pete Maravich. He said he was in 8th grade at a basketball camp at Campbell College, and they were doing a layup drill, and Pete Maravich was running one of the drills.
Yeah, and he said, hey, whoever can make a right-hand layup and a left-hand layup, last man standing wins. And Rick Barnes was the last camper left in that drill. All he had to do was make a left-hand layup to win the practice jersey off of Pete Maravich's back. So he thought, man, I got this. I know how to make a left-hand layup. Right when he goes up for the shot, Pete Maravich jumps at him out of nowhere with a little rim protection, and the shot did not go in. And so that was, Rick Barnes was in 8th grade at that time, while Pete Maravich, I believe, was a junior in college. So the legend was certainly already there, and to be able to have that type of moment at a basketball camp, was certainly memorable for Rick Barnes.
If you get to talk to Rick Barnes, then you're going to learn a lot. It won't be about the game, but it'll be about something around basketball.
That's why we got to go watch film work first with the team and the assistant coaches.
Tyreek Key hitting as the shot clock expires.
This is a guy I'm really interested to see for Tennessee. Now with his role coming off the bench, can he focus more about being a six-man scoring threat instead of facilitating the offense the way he was when Ziegler was coming off the bench?
Yeah, Tyreek Key, that Tennessee native from Salina, Tennessee, but played 5 seasons at Indiana State. Been talking to him a lot about shooting, too, getting his feet set, been ready to shoot when the ball comes to him.
Yeah, they showed several clips of Kevin Durant at Texas last night to the team and talked about how he was so shot ready, how low he got, even though he was tall, how he sat down low, got the ball over his head within an instant. And Tyreek Key is really a big physical guard, 6'2", but just all brute muscle, 210 pounds. And really, out of all the guards, I think he's the one you can really post up. And you saw him very comfortable in that mid-range area.
Do you think it was cool to see the players' reaction last night watching a young Kevin Durant?
Yeah, he was a problem. They showed the breakout game against Texas Tech. He had as freshman, of course, 37 and 24, I believe.
Just another night. With the giant uniforms, too.
Hey, the capri pants were cool,
yeah,
man.
You wore those.
The capris were cool.
I remember you were rocking those. Well, our big Monday ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and the app. Duke in Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech at 7 Eastern. Then we'll take you to Waco for number 21 Baylor squaring off against number 2 Kansas. That is coming up on Monday. In the SEC, we saw Kentucky get a win over Texas A&M today, and that puts Kentucky in the field, according to Joe Lunardi. Both of those teams were on the bubble.
There you go. You like that move by Reed. This is a guy that kind of floats around the perimeter some, but he's got some handles to him for a big man and likes to take you off the bounce. And as he progresses, this is a guy to watch out for in SEC play. Maybe not by the end of this year, but for next year and years to come. Where you get him in space against another team's 5-man, he's going to be a problem.
Now, he started the first 8 games for LSU, but since has been coming off the bench. That's the 4th foul on Olivier Kamwa. Yeah, talking bracketology, Tennessee at number 2 seed right now. You think they can move up to a 1 seed?
Yeah, with that Kansas loss, and Tennessee certainly has the head-to-head advantage there with that Atlantis championship over the Jayhawks. So there's no question this Tennessee team could be a 1 seed. And I like the way their SEC schedule lines up as well. You know, who they get at home and who they have to go on the road with. For example, they host Alabama, which is right now the biggest threat to their SEC championship. So those are things when you look through that magic ball and try to predict the SEC championship, it's not just the eye test, it's the schedule test. And I think Tennessee's is pretty favorable.
You know, we were talking to Matt McMahon about his impressions first year coaching in the SEC. He talked a lot about, look, these teams have rim protectors, but there's a lot of good defensive teams too in this league.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, right now, Tennessee's starting to become more consistent on the offensive end, but really the only offense you fear coming into the game is Alabama's, and everybody else is man, they're hanging their hat on the defensive end. And so come March, will it be one of those where a lot of SEC teams advance because defense travels and they're winning these 60-56 type games? Or do they lose some of those games 56-50 because their offense just put way too much pressure on their defense? And right now, Tennessee's emerging as one of those more reliable offenses that maybe wasn't there early in the season.
Tip in by James. You know, I got to see Brandon Miller in Alabama in person for the first time Tuesday. Have you seen him in person?
Not in person.
Oh, man, it's a treat.
Matt McMahon said, he goes, that's the best talent I've seen in person at the college level since John Morant, who he, of course, coached Ja at Murray State.
He's projected to be, what, 6th or 7th pick in the NBA draft?
Yeah, you made a great point. I mean, he just never wavers. If his game's off during the game or if he's getting denied a little bit, that road game at Arkansas where tough environment, and he was struggling to get a shot off there, and then all of a sudden Alabama went on a 9-0 run in 45 seconds late in that game. 2 triples from Miller. He's an absolute stud and a game changer.
Yeah, you can't get him frustrated, which makes him elite. That's been falling all day for Tennessee. They've hit 12 three-pointers. That ties their SEC season high. Their season high is 14 overall. Hit 8 of those in the first half. LSU kind of hoping, hey, making Tennessee take the 3, keeping them out of the paint, but Volunteers hitting.
Yeah, they've taken half of their shots from beyond the arc, and if you're Coach Matt McMahon, that's kind of what you wanted. However, there's been way too many that were more wide open without a strong contest, and you're also running into a big-time confidence team right now as well.
How about the feed from Justice Williams to Trey Hannibal?
And a good back cut there as Hannibal caught the defender ball watching.
Key in the corner. Rebound by Hayes. Offensive foul on Trey Hannibal. Under 8 to go here in Baton Rouge. Tennessee in control. Thank you so much. Tennessee in control here. Zakai Ziegler getting the start today and showing up.
Yeah, what has he not done? I mean, this guy was able to penetrate the defense early. We've seen him be able to get his teammates involved as well. Came into the game leading the SEC in assists in league play, and that's going to be his favorite highlight. He's got a block. He takes a charge. We talked about, is he emerging as the best point guard in the SEC? He's making a strong case, and as I've said before, I hadn't seen a little man ball like this since Little Bow Wow did it, like Mike. Zakai Ziegler give him a run for his money.
Did you just throw a Little Bow Wow reference into this game?
I mean, how can you not?
I mean, easily.
He's controlling it like he did. Can he rap like him? I don't know.
That's a career high 2 blocks for him. And I believe it's just Bow Wow now. He dropped the Lil.
My bad, yeah. I'm not up to date on anything cool or current since 07.
Oh, LSU hit that one back in. Tennessee left 39-22 at the half. They hit 8 3-pointers in the first half. They've got 12 in the game. 4 players in double-digit scoring. LSU had a 9-minute drought without a field goal in that first half. That hurt them.
Yeah, they've had some big-time droughts, and they just put so much pressure on their defense, but they've got to realize, hey, what can we control? It might not be the scoring droughts, but we can make sure, by God, if we're not scoring, neither is the other team. And I think that's where they've really got to do some self-reflecting and get in the film room, as Coach Matt McMahon has to continue to stay patient and positive with this team. But there's no time. Nobody's feeling sorry for you as they have to go to Bud Walton Arena on Tuesday.
Yeah, face an Arkansas team that they beat this year already. You know, Razorbacks will be fired up. Well, Monday night on the SEC Network, the undefeated number 3 LSU women's basketball team taking on Alabama. Crimson Tide have won 3 straight. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. If you have not seen Angel Reese play, she is absolutely incredible. Look at what she is averaging on the season. She has 19 straight double-doubles. That ties the LSU consecutive double-doubles record with Sylvia Fowles, whose, jersey is hanging in the rafters.
Yeah, you could establish residency here. You were on the call the other night for her, right? When she blocked a shot with one shoe in her hand as well.
You don't need a shoe to block a shot.
And to clarify, she didn't use the shoe. That was in the offhand.
She was just holding it in her left hand, blocked the shot with her right hand. LSU was their first big test against Arkansas. They survived on Thursday to stay undefeated. Tipped in by Adu.
LSU really struggling there with those second chance points. The length, inside shots lead to inside rebounds, and Tennessee, that's part of their offense, really, is getting the ball up there on the glass and attacking heavily from everyone from the 3 to the 4 to the 5.
KJ Williams, we've seen that move from him a couple of times. That gives him 13 points. He hit 2,000 points for his career tonight.
And that's a really difficult shot. He makes it look easy, but it certainly is not. A jump hook from 8 to 10 feet out, it's tough.
8 seconds. Shot clock violation, Tennessee. He takes a seat with 10 points off the bench today for Tennessee. He's one of 4 volunteers in double figures. LSU, they've hit their last 3 shots.
Yeah, I think since Coach Matt McMahon made some of those subs midway through the second half, that's a careless turnover there.
It's going to be turnover number 18, and it leads to 2 more points for James.
I mean, how smooth is that? To be able to read the defender. And James is a left-hand player, so to go under the rim with your right hand and make it look that easy is really a testament to his talent.
Besides, Jordan James has a season-high 22 points. His career high is 23.
Here's James going to get the deflection. Again, they don't gamble. They just stay in passing lanes and in the right position. And look at this. The lefty says, all right, you're going to try to swat that away. No problem. The veteran says, let me teach you something.
On the other end, whistled for his 3rd foul. Puts Reed at the line. You look at the SEC, Tennessee 5-1 in SEC play. Obviously, for the SEC tournament purposes, you want to be one of those top 4 to get the double bye.
Yeah, it's been a wild season in the SEC so far. You had a couple teams struggle in non-conference that you didn't expect in Texas A&M and Florida, but they're starting to find their footing a little bit in conference play, specifically the Aggies. And then some of those surprise teams such as Mississippi State, LSU, Missouri, that are now being humbled just a little bit in league play. Some more so than others with Missouri, as you saw right there. Certainly thinking about Selection Sunday as they have held their own with their tempo and their pace under Coach Dennis Gates. Been a really exciting team to watch.
Yeah, one of the fastest in the nation. Reed gets stripped. 19 turnovers for LSU. Tennessee only has 6 turnovers today. Their season low is 11.
And again, that's Tennessee's ball security, which is a positive. They got lucky right there. Ziegler's going to get the luckiest assist of his life as Barnes yells at him. But LSU just can't create any live ball turnovers, and that makes their offense go in some of those longer droughts as well when you can't get those fast break transition buckets.
Ziegler now with a double-double, 12 points, 10 assists, and just 1 turnover. Short on the 3. .6-0 run for Tennessee. Volunteers up big. Look, we're a ways away from Knoxville, but I think I can hear in the distance, challenge accepted.
If they think the pregame was wild, they should have seen the postgame
Yeah.
a couple of those game days.
Well, Tennessee is going to play Georgia next, but then they're going to host Texas. And remember the meeting last year with Texas. Obviously, Rick Barnes was there for a very long time and had a lot of success. But Texas won in Austin against Tennessee last year, 52-51. Timmy Allen had a couple of free throws with 6 seconds left to give Texas that lead.
And I think if you look back at that game at Texas, there was a lot about the Rick Barnes coming home, even though he didn't want the attention. That's what the theme was. And I think if you ask the players, they wanted so badly to win for their coach. They were really pressing, and that was a game that they lost in the 50s, and their offense really abandoned them. But this seems to be a much more well-oiled machine heading into that matchup on the offensive end than they were a year ago.
Yeah, what have you liked about Tennessee's offense today?
I think they've taken what the defense has given them. They've taken mid-range, they've taken it from 3, and at the same time they haven't settled. They've gone to the offensive glass. But the key here is they can't get complacent and think that everything's fine offensively, because this is an LSU team that's at the bottom defensively in the league, because they don't have the guys down low with the rim protection that we've talked about. So you want to be confident but not be complacent either.
Yeah, defense has been that steady thing for Tennessee. It's been the offense that's been up and down. And Tennessee's defense today, right about there, right about what we're used to seeing. 19 turnovers forced. They usually average forcing about just over 16.
And if you look at these two programs, you're talking about just opposite ends of the spectrum, where Rick Barnes took over Tennessee, and he's had years to put this culture and team together where they're the golden child of the NCAA right now when you talk about the lack of roster turnover, the returnees, yet still taking advantage of the transfer portal. And you look at LSU where on April 1st, Matt McMahon had 0 scholarship players on this team. 0. That was when Adam Miller had gone into the transfer portal, so he wasn't sure if he was coming back or not. And then Matt McMahon said, hey, look, I'm going to bring the guys that I can from Murray State. I'm going to focus on the guys I can retain at LSU, and then I'll hit the transfer portal and recruit. So it's not that easy to get a team to buy in and be on the same page. I shouldn't say they haven't bought in, but be on the same page and have the chemistry that Tennessee has developed here, as it's taken years to get it to where it is now.
KJ Williams, one of those players from Murray State that Matt McMahon brought over with him. The OVC Player of the Year, nice one to bring over. He's got 16 today. Five seconds for the Vols. Shot clock violation.
Well, Ziegler looks a little bit tired. He's been short on a lot of his shots. Now, he played all 40 minutes in that Mississippi State game, and he told the media, I'm good, I could play another one right now. I think maybe he's starting to feel the effects of the minutes, so he is human. And Garrett Maidenwall for Tennessee, one of the best athletic trainers and conditioning coaches in the business, is why this Tennessee team is so physical, in such elite shape.
Ziegler's played 35 minutes today. You see number 34 in white in there. That's Sean Phillips. This is a kid that really could help LSU. He's just taking some time to get used to the college game. He's a 7-footer. Hannibal finishes.
He's going to need to make that shot. Teams are playing off of him. He doesn't have to be a three-point threat and completely change his game, but they are backing off of him even from 15 feet. That shot's going to be there for Hannibal.
Tobe Awaka.
He's got a bright future, doesn't he? I call him the enforcer. When Rick Barnes isn't happy about post play or physicality down low, he brings in number 11. And as his offense starts to catch up with his defense, he's going to be a force in the SEC for years to come.
Well, tennis's first major of the year rolls on down under. Our round of 16 Australian Open coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN+, continues on ESPN2 at 8. Every match can also be seen live on ESPN+. 3 Americans in action tonight. Coco Gauff being one of those. She's coming into the round 8-0 on the year. Also, Jessica Pegula, you're going to be able to see her tonight. Her family owns the Bills and the Sabres. Bills in action tomorrow.
I'd say they got a pretty good, entertaining weekend ahead of them.
A busy weekend. Yeah. Bills facing former LSU Tiger Joe Burrow. Look at this Tennessee team. They're going to hang on here. The evolution from last week, the loss of Kentucky, to this Tennessee team now. What have you seen?
I think a team that's, one, finishing around the basket a little bit better. They missed some bunnies against that Kentucky team. But in their wins this year, they're out-rebounding teams by an average of 12. In their losses, they're getting out-rebounded by 12. And that's what you saw in that Kentucky team. Like, if you can out-rebound and handle Tennessee's physicality, you got a good chance to win. But it's such a disparity there. And since that game, you've seen Tennessee not only shoot the ball better, but get back to their DNA as a defense, which is contest shots, one and done on that end of the court. And they've been terrific on the glass.
Tennessee winning the rebounding battle. It is close, though, 34-29 today. 19 turnovers by LSU. That really hurt the Tigers.
An amazing stat here as well. If Tennessee can get you down, this is according to analytics expert evanmaya.com, who tracks kill shots, which are runs of 10-0 against you. Only 3 times this season has Tennessee surrendered a run of 10-0, and so if you get down against Tennessee, your chances of coming back in a hurry are very limited because of how locked in they are on the defensive end. And it was business as usual for the Vols, and a Tennessee team that had struggled in Baton Rouge Last 4 times down here, they've got that monkey off their back.
Yeah, Tennessee victorious in Baton Rouge tonight. Volunteers improving to 6-1 in SEC play, a 77-56 win over LSU. That's it for Baton Rouge. When we come back, it'll be the studio. Kevin Connors and the crew.